Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with another lesson. This is from ISC class 11. The text is called Advice to Youth, written by Mark Twain. Now you have to remember is Mark Twain is a pen name. His original name is Samuel Langhorne Clemens. Okay, Mark Twain is a pen name that he wrote by. He is famous for his famous two novels, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer is said to have been influenced by his own story, though it is quite autobiographical in nature. This text is one of his speeches that he gave. Okay, he was a humorist, a writer, an entrepreneur, a publisher, and a lecturer. He was also praised as the greatest humorist the United States has ever produced. This is from the book Prism, a collection of ISC short stories for class 11 and 12. I'm going to start reading the text now and I'm going to explain the layers of meaning there. So let's delve deep into the text. Being told I would be expected to talk here, I inquired what sort of talk I ought to make. Ought to is a modal, it suggests responsibility, what he felt obligated to do. They said it should be something suitable to youth, something didactic. Didactic is an adjective which means moralistic in nature, a lesson that we preach, much like Christian sermons, much like any religious teachings. Instructive or something in the nature of good advice. So that was what the author was instructed to do. Very well, I have a few things in my mind which I have often longed to say for the instruction of the young. For it is in one's tender early years that such things will best take root. Things will best take root means things that will grow its roots among you, in your minds, something that you will remember and be most endearing and most valuable, something that will endure the effect of time. It means it will stay with you. This lesson, this speech that he is going to give you is going to stay with you. That was what Mark Twain was thinking of. First then, I will say to you, my young friends, and I say it beseechingly, urgingly, I urge you to pay attention to this one. Now remember, he was a humorist and you will find plenty of humor in this story. Most of the common expectations are subverted here. Subverted means like turned upside down. You will be surprised, you will expect something from him and he will just turn the table on you. Always obey your parents. हमेशा अपना पेरेंट्स को obey करो. ये सोसाइटी सिखाता है, पेरेंट्स भी सिखाते हैं हम लोगों को. When they are present. This is the best policy in the long run. Because if you don't, they will make you. That's where the fun begins. If you don't listen to your parents, it's not like you have a choice. Especially in Asia, if you have an Asian parents, they are going to make you listen, right? They will beat you. Most parents think they know better than you do. And you can generally make more by humoring that superstition than you can by acting on your own better judgment. Parents think they are the most experienced person in the world. They are the best people to guide you. That's what they think. Most of us like to think like that. We are quite experienced and we'll be able to guide everyone properly. So, it will be better if you humor them by pretending to listen to them. Showing them you actually care about their advices rather than acting on your own judgment. Now, Mark Twain is being sarcastic here. He is exactly telling you what the society expects you to do, to listen to your parents. कि हमने मम्मी पापा जो भी बोले वो बस आग बंद करके सुनना है. But we know deep within कि they do not know everything. Sometimes we have to act for our own interest. Be respectful to your superiors, if you have any, also to strangers and sometimes to others. If a person offends you, and you are in doubt as to whether it was intentional or not, do not resort to extreme measures. कोई extreme steps ना लो, like मुक्का ही मारती है. Don't do that. In general, don't do that. Mark Twain is being sarcastic here. He may suggest that just punch them, but I would suggest not to do it. Simply watch your chance and hit him with a brick. So, once again, he is being sarcastic. That will be sufficient. So, this story is about, this speech is about how you can subvert, you can turn upside down the societal structures. You need to listen to what society actually tries to do to you. It's part of your ideological state apparatus. The machinery that the state, the country, your government, your society uses to make you into a machine that will listen to them, to turn you into a robot. That's what ideological state apparatuses do. They train you in the ways they want you to. They want you to become their copies. But we also come across various self-help advices, various memes, various movies like Three Idiots, especially in India, which tells you to focus on yourself, to choose excellence, to stop blindly copying others, and to listen to your heart and take chances, right? So that's what you're going to do, and that's what specifically Mark Twain asks you to do here, to take chances, to just turn the world upside down a bit now and then. Not always to just listen blindly to everyone, but to also listen to your better judgment. So be careful there. If you shall find that he had not intended any offense, come out frankly and confess yourself in the wrong when you struck him. So this is funny. You have already punched someone. Now you just cannot just go to them and confess कि okay, I'm sorry, मैंने आपको मार दिया, मुझे लगा था आप मजाक कर रहे हैं, या फिर मुझे लगा था आप ऐसा कुछ बोल रहे हैं, हम इंसल्टेड फील कर लिए और आपको मार दिए. We should all develop some civic sense, right? जब भी कोई हमसे बात करे हम लोग वैसे तमीज़ से बात करें. Even when people are being nonsensical or being offensive or arrogant, we should show them their place, but in an elegant way. We have to be the better one there. We cannot just hit people with bricks. Acknowledge it like a man and say you did not mean to. Acknowledge the fact that you did not mean to punch them. Yes, always avoid violence. And that is another satirical remark. Violence, especially if ethical, is important. Like I said, you cannot just let people walk all over you. You are not a doormat, are you? So, sometimes ethical violence is necessary. A violence that is ethical, that is right, given the context. So, I will leave it up to your better judgment. Read more, learn more, and then decide whether you actually want to punch someone or the said someone deserves it. In this age of charity and kindliness, the time has gone by for such things. That is another ironical remark. In this age of charity and kindliness, if you look around, you know this is not an age of charity and kindliness. People are going just violent. They do whatever they want to. Most people act entitled. कि जैसे दुनिया उन लोगों के लिए बना है, वो लोग जो भी चाहे कर सकते हैं. So we need to be careful about that. Leave dynamite to the low and unrefined. Leave dynamite to the low and unrefined. So people who do not have better judgment, better sense, leave the dynamites for them. That is more dangerous, right? You see, nuclear weapons, almost all the powerful countries around the world have nuclear weapons now. That is in their disposal. We expect them not to use them, because if we start throwing nuclear weapons around, bombing the countries, the earth will become a graveyard for everyone. तो कब्रिस्तान बन जाएंगे सबके लिए. तो लो एंड अनरिफाइंड को तो देना नहीं है, जो एक्चुअली वाइज उन लोगों के पास रखना है. So Mark Twain is being sarcastic. Do not take these sentences literally. He says, leave dynamite to the low and unrefined. Don't do that. Go to bed early, get up early. This is wise. We are not doing that, are we? Most of you who study in an ISC English medium do get up early because you have your schools in the morning. But going up to bed late, that is what we do. Most of us are insomniacs. Most of us are night owls, right? हम लोग रात को थोड़ी जल्दी 9 बजे सो जाते हैं, नहीं सोते. हम लोग थोड़ा इंस्टा चलाते हैं, रील्स देखते हैं, शॉर्ट्स देखते हैं. जैसे अभी if you come to YouTube, you will come across this video, or maybe if you are on Insta, I'm also doing the same. So go to bed early, get up early, and this is wise. This is what society expects you to do, or the wise people tell you. That is good advice. It's good for your health, as we know. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. But as we grow up, the syllabus, the curriculum of your subjects is so huge. It's not always possible to listen to such advices. We have to make our own routines, and most of the time we don't follow them. हम लोग बना लेते हैं कि हाँ ऐसे एकदम ये पढ़ लेंगे, उखाड़ लेंगे सब कुछ, but वो करते नहीं है. Some authorities say get up with the sun. It means to get up at dawn. Some say get up with one thing, others with another. मतलब इस वक्त उठ जाना, तब उठ जाना, ये उठ जाना. But a lark is really the best thing to get up with. A lark is a bird. It wakes up way early. The early bird gets the worm. Birds wake up early so that they can catch fresh prey, insects. It gives you a splendid reputation with everybody to know that you get up with the lark. So he's being funny here. He's humoring you. कि अगर जल्दी उठ जाओगे, सुबह उठ जाओगे तो सब कोई प्रेज भी करेगा, क्या बात है, कितना जल्दी उठ जाते हैं, राइट? सुशील है एकदम, सब कुछ सुनते हैं. And if you get the right kind of lark, the right kind of bird, and work at him right, you can easily train him to get up at 9:30 every time. It's no trick at all. अगर वो पंछी को तुम ट्रेन कर लो कि वो थोड़ा लेट उठे, 9 बजे उठ जाए या 9:30 में उठ जाए. 9:30 means 9:30, तो कोई बात ही नहीं. See, Mark Twain is asking you, because sometimes break the rules. You don't have to wake up at 5 or 5:30 or with the sun at all. Wake up sometimes when you want, when you need. Sometimes you need a good sleep. There are days when you can just relax. Now, as to the matter of lying, that is one tricky topic. झूठ बोलना, हम लोग सब experts हैं झूठ बोलने में, right? Humans are experts at telling lies, but there are layers there. You want to be very careful about lying, otherwise you are nearly sure to get caught. अगर झूठ ठीक से बोलना सीखे तब तो पकड़े जाओगे. ज़्यादातर स्टूडेंट्स जो एमेच्योर होते हैं, इनएक्सपीरियंस होते हैं, वो लोग पकड़े जाते हैं झूठ बोलते हुए, और पेरेंट्स के पास तो पकड़े जाते ही, और फिर तो एकदम धुलाई होता है. Once caught, you can never again be in the eyes to the good and the pure. और एक बार जो ट्रस्ट तोड़ दिए तब तो हुआ काम. You can never again be in the eyes to the good and the pure what you were before. इमेज का तो वैसा हो जाएगा. Many a young person has injured himself permanently through a single clumsy and ill-finished lie. Many a person जो शायद जिंदगी भर बहुत अच्छे से सब कुछ करते आए हैं, लेकिन कुछ ना कुछ छुपाते भी आए हैं, और अगर एक स्टेप पे थोड़ा सा भी क्लमजी हो गए तो वो अपना पूरा जिंदगी का रेपुटेशन बर्बाद कर देते हैं. The result of carelessness born of incomplete training. So Mark Twain asks you to train yourselves. If you want to be a liar, you better be a good liar. Otherwise, you are screwed. Don't use that. That's a slang. Some authorities hold that the young ought not to lie at all. कि बच्चों को झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए. It's amazing, right? How सारे बड़े ये सिखाते हैं, लेकिन वो लोग भी झूठ बोलने में एक्सपर्ट होते हैं. हम लोग डेली देखते हैं उन लोगों को कि वो जो बोलते हैं वो मानते नहीं हैं. So the society expects you to follow its dictates. But the society is often hypocritical. It has double standards. बोलते कुछ और है, करते कुछ और है. खुद अपना एडवाइस कभी सुनते नहीं है, बट हम लोग को एडवाइस देने में माहिर है, जो कि हम लोग भी बड़े होकर बन जाते हैं. खुद अप्लाई नहीं करते हैं, लेकिन जैसे दोस्तों के लिए तुम लोग एकदम साइकेट्रिस्ट बन जाते हो, साइकोलॉजिस्ट बन जाते हो, काउंसलर हो जाते हो, लेकिन अपने ज़िंदगी में सब एकदम a complete mess है. So this happens. It's life's little ironies. So that of course is putting it rather stronger than necessary. कि झूठ कभी बोलो ही मत. Still, while I cannot go quite so far as that, I do maintain, I believe I'm right, that the young ought to be temperate in the use of this great art until practice and experience shall give them that confidence, elegance and precision which alone can make the accomplishment graceful and profitable. So Mark Twain is being very elegant here. He is being cautious. He is being meticulous. बता रहे हैं कि हुनर, अपना झूठ बोलने में हुनर को बढ़ाना है, बहुत केयरफुल होना है और प्रैक्टिस करना है, एक्सपीरियंस गेन करना है, ताकि जब लाई को यूज़ करे तो अपने प्रॉफिट के लिए यूज़ कर पाए. जब जो लाई हम यूज़ करेंगे वो एक्चुअली प्रॉफिटेबल होगा. इट विल गेन मी समथिंग इंस्टेड ऑफ जस्ट स्क्रीन मी ओवर. सो patience, diligence, painstaking attention to detail. Painstaking attention to detail is called being meticulous. You're being cautious and careful, right? You're being detailed. कहाँ पे क्या ज़रूरत है, कैसे करना है, एकदम पूरा. कुछ clumsiness नहीं चल सकेगा, यहाँ पे नहीं चलेगा. So patience, diligence. Diligence means sincerity and hard work. Negligent का opposite होता है. Diligence is noun. The adjective is diligent. These are requirements. These in time will make the student perfect. Upon these only may he rely as the sure foundation for future eminence. बाद में जाके प्रसिद्ध होने के लिए, फेमस बनने के लिए ये ट्रेनिंग तो अभी बहुत ज़रूरी है. When you are growing up, think what tedious years of study, thought practice, experience went to the equipment of the peerless old master who was able to impose upon the whole world the lofty and sounding maxim that truth is mighty and will prevail. Just एक बार सोचो. Think what tedious years of study. Tedious means boring and relentless. करते ही जाना. कितना स्टडी करना, thought, practice, experience went to the equipment of that peerless old master. जो भी मास्टर ने ये maxim, ये saying किया था इन्वेंट कि ट्रूथ इज माइटी एंड विल प्रिवेल. कॉमन सेंस है लेकिन फिर भी ऐसे सजाना. ट्रूथ इज माइटी विल प्रिवेल. सच सबसे शक्तिशाली होता है और एक ना एक दिन इसका जीत होता है. राइट? एवरी टाइम वी टेल अ लाई वी ओवर डेट टू द ट्रूथ एंड सूनर और लेटर दैट डेट इज पेड. दिस इज फ्रॉम अ फेमस अवार्ड विनिंग शो, ओके, अ सीरीज, चेरनोबिल, जो गैस ट्रेजेडी पे हुआ था, न्यूक्लियर वेपन ट्रेजेडी में. सो द मोस्ट मेजेस्टिक कंपाउंड फ्रैक्चर ऑफ फैक्ट which any of women born has yet achieved. Truth is mighty and will prevail. The most majestic compound fracture of fact, because it is a compound sentence. Truth is mighty and will prevail, and is a cumulative conjunction here. For the history of our race and each individual's experience are sewn thick with evidences that a truth is not hard to kill and that a lie well told is immortal. Look at our politicians. Look at most of our self-help gurus, right? A lie well told. अगर एक झूठ को बढ़िया तरीके से बोल सकते हो और उसको थोड़ा कोशिश करके सस्टेन करने की कोशिश कर सकते हो, तो वो झूठ भी विथ टाइम जैसे बाकी सब के लिए ट्रूथ हो जाता है. Go through every phenomenon that is happening around you, especially the societal forces. Think of religion and समझ पाओगे कि मार्क ट्वेन क्या बात बोलने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि क्यों a lie well told is immortal. बिलीव करने लगता है हम उस लाई को. Sometimes a lie is comforting. हम लोगों को comfort देता है. सच बहुत कड़वा होता है कभी कभी. सच कभी कभी हम लोग को लोनली कर देता है, इसलिए हम लोग लाई का असर लेते हैं. लाई के पास जैसे रिफ्यूज मिलता है हम लोगों को, दुनिया के हार्श रियलिटी से थोड़ा रिलीफ मिलता है. देयर इज इन बॉस्टन अ मॉन्यूमेंट ऑफ द मैन हु डिस्कवर्ड एनेस्थीसिया. मेनी पीपल आर अवेयर इन दिस लेटर डेज दैट द मैन डिड नॉट डिस्कवर इट एट ऑल. कि जो जिसका नाम पे वो किया हुआ है कि एनेस्थीसिया डिस्कवर किया था, वो ये नहीं किया था. वो सबको पता चल गया बाद में जाके, बट स्टोल द डिस्कवरी फ्रॉम अनदर मैन. We have heard about Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, right? Go research on them, you'll know what I'm talking about. Is this truth mighty and will it prevail? क्या ये truth जो है वो mighty है बहुत, और क्या ये truth prevail करेगा? क्या ये सच का जीत होगा? ना हम लोग जिसके नाम पे वो डिस्कवरी कर दिया गया है वही मानते रहेंगे, राइट? अभी भी निकोला टेस्ला को बहुत सारे लोग उतना ज़्यादा नहीं जानते जितना थॉमस अल्वा एडिसन के बारे में जानते हैं, बिकॉज ऑफ discovering light, electricity. No, my hearers. The monument is made of hardy material, the monument of lies. But the lie it tells will outlast it 1,000,000 years. जो ये झूठ जो बोल दिया ये शायद लाखों साल तक रह जाए. That is a hyperbole, an exaggeration, but you know what Mark Twain means here. कि कभी कभी झूठ इतना दमदार होता है कि वो रह जाता है, वो सस्टेन कर लेता है. And one of its lies is right around you, something that you follow every day. The lies of caste, religion, races. इसके बेसिस पे देखो सबको डिवाइड करके मारने में काटने पे सब लगे हैं. But these are lies, you know that, right? The only truth is we are all humans. We must all be by each other's side and help one another, right? But see how it has divided us, how we have divided ourselves in the name of religion, caste, color, gender, everything. So a lie well told is stronger. It divides people. An awkward, feeble, leaky lie is a thing which you ought to make it your unceasing study to avoid. जो awkward lie होता है, feeble, leaky lie होता है, जो easily discoverable है, easily पकड़ सकता है कोई, वो avoid करना होगा, स्टडी करना होगा, कोशिश करना होगा कि ऐसे लाई हम लोग ना बोले. बहुत केयरफुल होना पड़ेगा क्या बोलने चाह रहे हैं. अगर लाई बोलेंगे तो किस बारे में बोल रहे हैं और कैसे बोलना चाहिए ताकि लोगों को बेस्ट तरीके से मैनिपुलेट किया जाए. Such a lie as that has no more real permanence than an average truth. जैसे कोई एवरेज ट्रूथ उतना ज़्यादा दिन तक होल्ड नहीं कर पाता है, वैसे ऐसे लीकी लाइज, नॉट वेल ट्रेन्ड लाइज भी उतना ही होता है, वो कहीं ना कहीं निकल ही जाएगा उसका सच्चाई. Why you might as well tell the truth at once and be done with it. तो अच्छा ये कि झूठ बोल ना बोलो और सच ही बोल दो, प्रॉब्लम खत्म, हेडेक खत्म, जो कि होना चाहिए. बट वी आर नॉट ऑलवेज एबल टू टेल द ट्रूथ, आर वी? A feeble, stupid, preposterous lie will not live 2 years, except it be a slander upon somebody. Slander is like slang. बदनामी हो जाएगा rather उसका, अगर पकड़ा जाए तो. It is indestructible then of course, but that is no merit of yours. तो ये जो स्लैंडर हो गया, ये जो बदनाम हो गया, वो परमानेंट हो जाएगा, क्योंकि फेम इज फ्यूटाइल. लेकिन एक बार किसी का बदनाम हो जाए, वो दाग यूजुअली नहीं जाता है, इरेज करना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है. इट्स लाइक एन इंडेलिबल इंक दैट कैन नॉट बी इरेज्ड. अ फाइनल वर्ड. Begin your practice of this gracious and beautiful art early. Begin now. तो he is being funny here. He is being humorous कि अभी से झूठ बोलना सीखो और खुद को ट्रेन करना सीखो. बेसिकली झूठ बोलना नहीं, बट अगर झूठ बोलना भी चाहते हो तो एक परफेक्ट लाई बोलना, ट्रेन करना पड़ेगा खुद को. Never handle firearms carelessly. This is a no-brainer. Never handle firearms carelessly. कौन ही firearms को carelessly handle करेगा? The sorrow and suffering that have been caused to the innocent but heedless handling of firearms by the young. जितना नुकसान आज तक हुआ है जब innocent के हाथों, heedless के हाथों, जो लोग सुनते नहीं है, those who do not pay attention, उसके हाथों जब firearms गया है, उससे जितना sorrow and suffering आज तक दुनिया में हुआ है. Especially people who just blindly listen to people. Think about Hitler's followers, the Nazis. Only 4 days ago, right in the next farmhouse to the one where I am spending the summer, a grandmother, old and grey and sweet, one of the loveliest spirits in the land, was sitting at her work when her young grandson crept in and got down an old, battered, rusty gun which had not been touched for many years and was supposed not to be loaded, and pointed it at her, laughing and threatening to shoot. This is a funny incident. This is dark humor. जहाँ पे ऑथर थे अपना समर स्पेंड कर रहे थे, वहाँ पे एक ग्रैंड मदर के बारे में बात कर रही है, वो एक ओल्ड लेडी के बारे में जिसका ग्रैंडसन एक रस्टी गन लेके आया उसके तरफ और थ्रेटन कर रहा था कि शूट कर देगा. इन हर फ्राइट शी रैन स्क्रीमिंग. फ्राइट मीन्स शी गॉट स्केयर्ड. इन हर फियर शी रैन स्क्रीमिंग एंड प्लीडिंग टुवर्ड द डोर ऑन द अदर साइड ऑफ द रूम. But as she passed him, he placed the gun almost against her very breast and pulled the trigger. So he had supposed it was not loaded. That child thought it was not loaded, and he was right. It wasn't. See the punchline? It came later. It wasn't loaded, but think about it. Had it been loaded, grandmother would have then gone to Sky Daddy. Sky Daddy means God. So there wasn't any harm done. It is the only case of that kind I ever heard of. Therefore, just the same, don't you meddle with old, unloaded firearms. Loaded or unloaded, just try to stay away from firearms. I would suggest that. They are the most deadly and unerring things that have ever been created by man. Unerring means inaccurate. You don't have to take any pains at all. Unerring doesn't mean inaccurate. It means accurate. Erring means something that makes mistakes. Unerring is something that does not make mistakes. A gun is a gun. You cannot play with it. It's like fire. You cannot play with it, right? You have to learn to control it and be cautious of it. So, you don't have to take any pains at all with them. You don't have to have a rest. You don't have to have any sights on the gun. You don't have to take aim even. No, you just pick out a relative and bang away, and you're sure to get him. A youth who can't hit a cathedral at 30 yards with a Gatling gun in 3/4 of an hour can take up an old empty musket and bag his grandmother every time at 100. Think what Waterloo would have been if one of the armies had been boys armed with old muskets supposed not to be loaded. अगर बैटल ऑफ वाटरलू में ऐसा होता, बैटल ऑफ वाटरलू तुम लोग पढ़ चुके हो, नेपोलियन का लास्ट वॉर, and then he had to spend his life in exile and he died there. And the other army had been composed of their female relations. अगर ऐसा होता तो क्या होता? Let's go through that funny sentence again. Think what Waterloo would have been if one of the armies had been boys armed with old muskets supposed not to be loaded, and the other army had been composed of their female relations. Mark Twain is being cheeky here. Sometimes in our life we do wish to shoot the female companions that we have. Sometimes we get so frustrated by them. But suppose we wanted to shoot them and our guns were unloaded. The very thought of it makes one shudder. So he is being at his sarcastic best. There are many sorts of books, but good ones are the sort for the young to read. So now we move on to another aspect, that is reading. Remember that. Good ones are the sort for the young to read. We need to read good books. They are a great and inestimable and unspeakable means of improvement. Therefore, be careful in your selection, my young friends. And that is good advice indeed. Sarcastic or not, picking a good book is half the journey done. Because a good book is like a doorway to a world that guides you with wisdom. Be very careful. Confine yourselves exclusively to Robertson's sermons, Baxter's Saints' Rest, The Innocents Abroad, and works of that kind. See what Paine did here? First, he asked you to read good books. Then he's being sarcastic. Good books does not mean just religious sermons, right? Yes, most of the sermons may be good. Jesus taught us to be kind. Krishna taught us to be kind. A few endearing aspects of many religions is they do teach us to be kind. But religions also teach us many things. If you read the text, you will see the hypocrisy there, you will see the injustice there, especially perpetrated on women in the name of religion. But I have said enough. So do not choose to read sermons, rather read various books. Read books in science maybe, I would suggest that. Science is the way. But I have said enough. I hope you will treasure up the instructions which I have given you. I will, I know. And make them a guide to your feet and a light to your understanding. Build your character thoughtfully and painstakingly upon these precepts. And by, when you have got it built, you will be surprised and gratified to see how nicely and sharply it resembles everybody else's. At his sarcastic best once again. Build your character thoughtfully and painstakingly upon these precepts, and by, when you have got it built, you'll be surprised and gratified to see how nicely and sharply it resembles everybody else's, which Mark Twain says we are all similar kind of. No matter how different we may seem, but on the ground level, most of us think and act almost the same way. That's why most humans are so difficult to make sense to, right? To put sense into. Most of them just have this herd mentality. So if everyone present at that gathering listened to Mark Twain and tried to follow his words, everyone would turn out to be the same, right? And that's where the sarcasm is. You need to make your own judgment. You need to read, you need to analyze, you need to think what you should follow and should not, whether you should follow just society's dictates and become servile, जैसे सर्वेंट बन चुके हो, जो भी बोल रहे सुनते जा रहे हो, or whether you want to become smart, intelligent, someone who is analytical, someone who has a scientific temperament of mind, who actually sees through things. Mark Twain leaves it up to you. So this is a great speech on humor, on, of course, lessons that are invaluable. If you actually listen to them and act on them, it will benefit you. That's where we end today's lesson. I hope it was helpful. I'll come up with another video in a very short time. Enjoy.